Hey guys, welcome to the No Niche Nerds. If you clicked on this video, you're here to see our 10 biggest gaming regrets.
All right, so the first one for me is Anthem for the PlayStation 4. Man, this was not good at all. I was disappointed.
Terrible.
And to spend the money for full price, what was it? 50, 60 bucks, something like that. You know, the flying was great in it, but it was really repetitive. The story was boring, and it lacks so much that I couldn't get into it. Unfortunately, this one did not keep up with the looter shooter hype like Destiny. Destiny, I thought was such a great game. And, you know, for Anthem, Destiny kind of set the precedence, and Anthem just could not deliver, unfortunately. Also, the end game, there wasn't much to it. It just really couldn't, keep me into it. So that was my first big regret, paying full price for a game.
Alright guys, first up for me, I got Watch Dogs. Man, where do I start with Watch Dogs? I guess I'll start with the graphics. The graphics were fine. They were decent. They just weren't what we were expecting from the E3 trailers. They were obviously downgraded. From the E3 trailers, they looked phenomenal. They looked amazing. When we got it, it was just mediocre at best. And it kind of put a sour taste in my mouth from right when I got it. The gameplay for me was kind of boring. The missions seem very repetitive. You find the person, get the access code, hack it, rinse and repeat, same thing all over again. Also, the game was pretty unfinished, I thought. There was no car damage. The character face models were pretty bland. The Assassin's Creed NPCs look better. And also for a game that's based on, talking to and building relationships with NPCs and civilians, there was hardly any interactions after that. I ended up trading this game to a friend of mine for 50 bucks a week later. Luckily, I got my money back. This game was rated 8.4 on IGN, but I would have given it a 5. It was very mediocre.
All right, so the next one for me is The Order 1886 for PlayStation 4. My first gripe with this is it was really short. I completed it in less than 20 hours. It lacked a lot of features that would extend any kind of gameplay. There was no multiplayer or anything like that. It would have been nice to have more actual combat instead of just being paced through a lot of long cutscenes, or to feel as though you're acting out a movie. One positive, it was very stunning. I thought that it took advantage of the PlayStation. It looked great. As far as the cutscenes, it looked like you were in a movie at times. But overall, a big regret for me paying full price.
I'd say this is the best looking game on this list. The Order.
Yeah.
That's pretty good in terms of graphics. Alright guys, next up for me is Mafia III. This is another game that was extremely repetitive for me. You would take down the racket bosses of each area and then get to the main boss. That's about it. One thing you guys will learn about me from watching this channel is that if I don't like a game or it doesn't hold my attention, I trade it in or sell it as fast as possible to get my money back. Luckily, I was able to sell this one to a friend also. I don't remember what I got for it, but I was happy to get rid of it. And this friend actually ended up liking this game too. I did read in the future that the developers of the Mafia game actually made a Mafia Definitive Edition, and it's supposed to be more meaningful and then less repetitiveness, but I don't know if I would ever give it a shot again. IGN rated this game a 7.5, but I'd give it a 5, maybe a 4.5.
All right, guys, so this next one for me, I know a lot of people are probably going to give me a hard time about it, and I promise you I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. But Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, I had it for the GameCube. I know they've remade it, and it's on PS4. Man, I just couldn't get over this game. It's not good. So my first gripe on it is that you're only able to fight within the radius of the crystal holder. That drove me crazy. I could not stand that. And then also there was a lack of world exploration. And you're just moving around in a caravan? What's up with that? That was not exciting at all. The story was meh, and the character development was not good at all. I was kind of disappointed for a Square Enix title. I figured they had to put a little bit more into it. I understand that it was a GameCube game. You can only put so much, but it just didn't have any heart to it at all. This game has a lot going for it. This game has a lot going against it.
Alright guys, next up for me is Dying Light. This one's on par with yours, I think, with Crystal Chronicles. But the only reason that this one is on the list for me, guys, is because it gave me extreme motion sickness. In no way, shape, or form am I saying this game is bad by any means. I did try to play this one several times, guys. I even took Dramamine pills and ginger pills, but I just couldn't get past the motion sickness. It was extremely disappointing, though, because I'd waited for this game ever since its announcement. However, it is one of my biggest regrets because I did spend $60 on it just to get sick.
Alright, so the fourth game for me that I regret is Bubsy for Sega Genesis. Wow. The controls were wonky. It was too fast, especially for a platformer. It had poor level design that just seemed to be thrown together in a rush. Also, having to collect yarn balls. It was kind of funny at first, but then became annoying very quickly. It seemed like a copy pasta job from just other platformers, and they were just trying to compete with them. Overall, really, really bad game.
What'd you say?
Just some nerd lingo.
I never heard that before. I thought that you probably typed it out and it word corrected you.
Oh no, I did it on purpose.
I didn't change anything. All right, guys. For me, next up is Superman 64. That's all I need to say, right? That's it. Okay. As a kid, I was a huge Superman fan. Comics, books, TV shows, cards, movies, anything you can think of to get my hands on a Superman. I love Superman. So you guys can imagine my disappointment when I popped this game into the N64 console. And I used my own money, mind you. If you didn't know, this is probably one of the worst games of all time. It's got horrendous graphics, terrible controls, and the gameplay is extremely repetitive and boring. I was hoping that Rocksteady was making a Superman game. They're the makers of the Arkham Batman games. They're probably the only ones that can actually give us a good game. IGN rated this game a 3.4, and I'd give it a 1. That's being nice. It's terrible. Don't even play it.
1. Yeah, if you see it somewhere, don't get it.
Terrible.
Alright guys, so the last one for me, Echo the Dolphin for Sega Genesis. Now, you watching, if you're old enough to remember this game, it was horrible, according to me. Maybe I was just too stupid. I don't know. But at first I was really excited to get this, and then I clearly realized it was hot garbage. Hot garbage. It has a lot of complex puzzles that were hard as shit. And like I said, maybe I'm just too stupid. Or maybe I was dumb back then as a teenager. To defeat the enemies, you had to ram them with your nose in a certain way just to kill them. What's up with that? Overall, this is probably my worst ever regret of owning a video game.
Alright guys, last up we got, this is probably the worst game on the list. I wouldn't say it was worse than Superman 64, but it's pretty bad, just the content alone. It's called Balon Wonderworld. Wow. This game is just bad, guys. It's bad. Imagine playing a game where you only use one button. That's it. One button. Don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful game. The presentation, the music, the characters, the atmosphere, everything about it, other than the gameplay, is just plain boring. I'm a sucker for 3D platformers too, like Mario, Banjo-Kazooie, or Conkers, so you can imagine my disappointment when I popped this frickin' turd into my Nintendo Switch. IGN ranked this game at a 4, but I'd give it a 2. Just because it was beautiful.
Wow. Better than Superman 64?
I don't know about that, man. Anyone that says that Man of Steel isn't the greatest Superman movie ever created can fight me.
Alright, so we'll see what the comments are on that then.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching our 10 worst regrets of video games. Please like, share, subscribe. It helps us out tremendously, and we appreciate your support. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.